Dear friends, welcome to another episode of Geopolitical and Military News. In this video, we will discuss a recent statement made by Jens Stoltenberg, Secretary General of NATO, who said that Europe and the world made a mistake by relying on Russia for energy, and that this lesson should serve to prevent them from making the same mistake with China. In one of his final official events before stepping down as NATO's Secretary General after a decade leading the alliance, Norwegian Stoltenberg, who will be replaced in October by Dutchman Mark Rutte, former Prime Minister of the Netherlands, issued several grave warnings for the future of the alliance, Europe, and the world in a speech delivered at NATO headquarters in Brussels, Belgium, on Thursday, September 19th. Stoltenberg warned of the risk of increased isolationism from some alliance members during one of the most critical moments in recent decades. According to Stoltenberg, the main problem at the moment is that while some NATO members are highly focused on the challenge posed by Russia's invasion of Ukraine, such as the United States, United Kingdom, France, Germany, the Netherlands, the Baltic countries, Denmark, and Poland, others are heading in the opposite direction, such as Hungary under Viktor Orban, who is seen as a great admirer of Vladimir Putin and has therefore consistently placed significant obstacles in the way of aid to Ukraine, both within the European Union and NATO. For Stoltenberg, the alliance was able to win the Cold War thanks to its cohesion and focus, and now, in the face of another major challenge, Russian expansionism, that same cohesion and focus must be maintained at all costs. However, Stoltenberg also shared some good news, stating that for the first time in the alliance's post-Cold War history, the majority of its members are investing 2% or more of their GDP in defense, meaning that at present, for every dollar spent globally on defense, 70 cents come from NATO member countries. Stoltenberg also mentioned that the members who are not yet investing 2% of their GDP have already presented concrete plans to do so in the short and medium term. Yet, he issued another grave warning, saying that this may not be enough to face future challenges, primarily represented by China, which, despite being geographically distant from Europe and the North Atlantic, poses a global risk that, in Stoltenberg's view, also affects the area of interest and operations of the alliance. Specifically regarding Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the current NATO Secretary General said that Kyiv must confront Moscow from a position of strength, a position that can only be achieved if Ukraine's allies, most of whom are NATO members, dedicate themselves even more to ensuring the necessary means for Ukraine to defend itself against Russian aggression. Stoltenberg made it clear that any future peace agreement to end this war must be based on a militarily strong Ukraine, and above all, one fully integrated into NATO. A point that Stoltenberg believes is crucial to prevent Russia from invading Ukraine again in the future. He also stated that Europe made a grave mistake by over-relying on Russia for energy. Europe had imported over 60% of the gas it consumed from Russia, a dependency that Putin used to blackmail European countries at the beginning of his invasion of Ukraine. For Stoltenberg, this was a grave miscalculation by European countries, a mistake that should serve as a lesson so that it is not repeated, this time with China. Just as Russia attracted and created European energy dependency through the offer of cheap natural gas, China is also attracting Europe with comparatively cheap labor and industrial products at a fraction of production costs, creating industrial dependence which, in Stoltenberg's view, could be exploited by Beijing in the same way Moscow exploited Europe's gas dependency. The outgoing Secretary General of the alliance said that this mistake cannot be repeated, and that NATO, Europe, and the world at large must remain vigilant to avoid falling into temptations involving low prices, as happened with Russian gas. Stoltenberg also called for NATO to take a more proactive stance in the future, saying that the alliance could have, in the past, sent the weapons Ukraine requested to prevent the war with Russia. But because this was not done, with NATO fearing to irritate Vladimir Putin, the alliance must now send weapons to fight the Russian invasion. Stoltenberg's statements reached Russia's ears, with the Kremlin classifying them as dangerous. Thank you for watching the video until the end. If you liked the content, don't forget to leave a like. This helps the channel grow and reach more people. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike and explain in the comments how we can improve. Also, comment with suggestions for topics we can cover in future videos. Insulting comments or those defending dictatorships or war criminals will be blocked without exception. Thank you for your understanding. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing by clicking the subscribe button below and hitting the bell to receive all notifications. Thank you. See you next time.